My name is Lisa, and welcome to the Stop, Drop, and Knit podcast, episode 57. It is a beautiful day today, and I finally have some peace and quiet. I'm so excited. Owen is next door playing with the neighbor's kids outside, so it might get a little bit noisy at times. They're being pretty quiet right now, but he's out of my hair, which means I can record a podcast, so even if they get a little noisy, we are not going to complain about it. So it is an exciting episode today, I think. As you can see, I have a finished garment. I'm so excited about that. I also have two other finished objects to share with you. We're gonna skip whips today because this was pretty much my whip of the week. And it's finished, so I didn't do too much on my other projects, but I have 3 finished objects in total to share with you guys today. So I think that, being that I don't usually have finished objects every week, I think 3 finished objects and no whips is perfectly acceptable. I also have spinning. I have been spinning a lot, so we will talk about spinning bamboo that came in the Paradise Fibers Fiber of the Month Club this month, and I have natural dyeing again today. I had to think for a minute what I was gonna say because I haven't had a natural dyeing segment in a little bit, so I do have some natural dyeing to share with you and a little smidge of acquisitions at the end. So it's, even without whips, it's gonna be a pretty full and exciting episode today. And I'm just glowing because I just finished this. So I'm so excited. So I cannot wait to share this, what am I wearing, with you, but I always forget to do this and then I have to edit it in. So if you are new here, welcome. Thank you so much. I have noticed an uptick in my subscribers this past week, so I'm really excited that you are here and that you found me, and I hope that you will enjoy the podcast and stick around. I always put in the project notes underneath in the description of this video the information about everything that I share with you here today. So the names of the patterns and the designers and the yarns that I use will all be listed below, or there will be a link to my project page on Ravelry. So you can always go to my Ravelry if that's accessible for you. My Ravelry username is LisaJack78. And then you can also follow me on Instagram and see more of my whips in my stories and things like that. On Instagram, I am at Lisa Westervelt Flute Studio. Okay, so now that stuff is all out of the way, let's talk about what am I wearing. I finished my souffle. I'm so excited. I was working on this ruffle all day yesterday. Oh my goodness. And I didn't even finish it last night. This ruffle took so long, but it fits perfectly. I did not swatch. Just saying. You don't always have to swatch if you, you should. I shouldn't tell you guys not to swatch, but I'm getting pretty good at estimating what size I need to knit. Most of the time I'm pretty consistent with the designer's gauge, so I just usually kind of go for it, and I did this time. So I just kind of shoved this on with my shorts because I was so excited to put it on. It fits perfectly. I am so pleased. It is not blocked yet. This is fresh off my needles as of an hour ago. I actually was so excited. I came out here to sit down and podcast right away with my hair up in a messy bun and everything, and I was just so eager to share it with you guys. And then my other next door neighbor was mowing his lawn, right? I was like, gosh, my kid is occupied. I've got my kid busy. I've got an opportunity to record. I'm excited to sit down, and now he's mowing his lawn. Why do people have to mow their lawns? It's a beautiful day. I want to sit out and podcast. So I said, well, I guess that means I can ruffle up my hair, because if you have a ruffle in your sweater, you should have a ruffle in your hair, right? So that was what I decided to do while I was waiting, so that I would be a little bit less frustrated about the lawn mowing happening. Let's see. So the Soufflé tea, I'm sure if you guys are on Instagram, I'm sure you guys have seen it everywhere. It is the Soufflé tea by Penrose Knits. Laura Penrose, she has had this pattern out for a few months, and she has been making like version after version after version of it using different yarns and different sizes. She just, I think today or yesterday, released one, the Petite Soufflé, I think, which is for like kids and babies, and I don't know about babies, but at least kids. It's adorable. Oh my goodness. So the name of my podcast is Stop, Drop, and Knit. And this is definitely, for me, was a stop, drop, and knit project. As soon as I saw the pattern, I actually saw it when some of the knitters that I was following were test knitting it. And so I followed the hashtag. I followed Laura because I didn't even know about Laura Penrose at that time. So I learned about Laura. I found her podcast. I followed the hashtag for the Soufflé tea. I was like, I am going to be ready as soon as this pattern is released to purchase it. And I had to buy yarn because I don't have a stash of mohair. So I went to my local yarn shop as soon as I had the pattern, and I went and purchased the yarn that I needed, and it just so happened that they had the same color as Laura's pattern, as Laura used for her sample knit. And I don't have a lot of this color, this particular like shade of pink in my wardrobe, but I really like it on me. I think it really brings out like my blue eyes really well. I don't know. So I am really enjoying this color. It's not a color that I usually pick out, but I'm so glad that I did. I was choosing between this one and like a really, really light purple, because usually I'm a purple person, but I'm so glad that I went with this. Now I am pretty determined, I think, to finally knit my first black top. I love this so much, and I've seen it in black. And even though I knit this one in the short sleeve version, she has also a version for long sleeves. And I think it is so elegant in the black with the sheer on top. For those of you who are new and don't know, I am a professional flutist. So I need to have various concert black options in my wardrobe. I don't have anything knit by myself in my wardrobe, or by anybody else. But I've been thinking, like, I want to start knitting a couple of things that maybe I could wear for a performance. But it's hard with knitwear to find things that are like dressy enough to be considered like performance attire. But I think that this sweater in a concert black, I've seen it on other people, and I think it would work really well. Because a lot of gigs, you're just dressed, have to be dressed in concert black, which is just black like head to toe, basically. And usually depending on the gig, long sleeves are required, so that's why I'm thinking long sleeves. I think it would be really, really nice. So I'm already planning my next souffle to be in black and the long sleeve version. And it's going to be like my first black piece of concert attire that I am knitting for myself. So I'm pretty excited about planning that. So this pattern is super size inclusive. Usually I knit the size medium, but Laura's pattern is size inclusive on both ends of the spectrum. So normally when I see a pattern, the smallest bust is about a 32, and then it goes up from there. But Laura's pattern starts at a bust size of 28. So instead of knitting the medium, I elected to knit the size 4, which I guess would, I don't really know if, I don't remember if she referred to it as like medium and large and extra small or anything, but it's definitely, it's size number 4 is what I chose to knit. And again, I didn't swatch, I just cast on and happily knit, and prayed. I just crossed my fingers. It's perfect. I couldn't be more pleased with the fit. I was so excited yesterday to finally knit the ruffle, because that was the thing that I really wanted this whole pattern for, because the ruffle is the sweetest thing ever. The back, I just put the little button on. Let's see. So she's got this little keyhole opening in the back, and oh my goodness. So the details of this sweater are not necessarily for the faint of heart. I don't think it's a complicated pattern, but it's very, the details, Laura really carefully thought them all out. So for the hems, these didn't take too long. So she's got these little folded hems at the sleeves there, and at the bottom here is another folded hem. And then the neckline took quite a while. I think I split the neckline over like 2 days, I think, too, because it's an I-cord knit bind off, and it's a gorgeous finish. It looks so great, but it was time consuming too. So, and then of course the ruffle, a lot of people will knit the ruffle and the neck, I-cord neck edging at the very beginning, like after they get to this point, before they continue, which is probably a smart idea, especially if you are worried about yarn management. And let me tell you what happened yesterday. I got to the ruffle, and this is how much yarn I had left. And for anybody who's knit a ruffle before, there are so many stitches. Also, as you know, bind offs take quite a bit more yarn than usual. So I did not trust that this was going to be enough to do the ruffle. And it just so happened that my husband was 5 minutes yesterday from my local yarn shop, the Knitting Garden in Huntington. We both work out there, and so he was out there yesterday, and so I called up Joanna and I said, I need to have my husband swing by in a few minutes. Like, she was about to close, but I told her the dye, the color number and the dye lot and everything, and I knew that she would have more there. And so she set a skein of it aside for me, so my husband didn't need to wonder what he was picking up for me. And so she set it aside, and I sent my husband over to pick me up a fresh skein. And so I'm so glad I did, because they're also going on vacation starting tomorrow. So like, I was gonna be kind of like up a creek without a paddle if I couldn't finish my sweater. I was just gonna have to wait it out then for them to reopen. So I wanted to send my husband over there to pick up yarn for me, and I didn't want to have to play yarn chicken with that. I said, you know, I would rather just cast on for the ruffle with a fresh skein and just know that I'm gonna have enough yarn. So that was what I did. Would this have been enough? I don't know. I don't think so, because the ruffle took so many stitches, because like you pick up stitches all the way around, which is, depending on your size, already, you know, a few hundred. And then the next round you're doubling them, because the ruffle keeps getting bigger. You have to have extra fabric. And then you're knitting, and then you're doubling again. So, I mean, there were like over 1,000 stitches by the time the ruffle was done. And then, you know, the bind off takes a lot of yarn as well. So I don't think I would have had enough. I really don't think I would have. So I'd rather just grab the extra skein, get it, like, just not have that stress going into the really cute ruffle, because I really wanted to be able to wear this for a podcast this week, and we're going on vacation next week, so I wanted to make sure that I recorded a podcast before we went on vacation, because it's been 2 weeks and oh my gosh. Okay, I'm a little bit chatty and excited, and I'm probably a lot right now for some of you, but I'm sorry. Yeah, so I guess that's all I have to say about the Soufflé tee. It's not complicated to knit, but there are a lot of really like detailed things that you have to be comfortable with in order to have a beautiful garment. So I would say intermediate. I would rank this as like an intermediate pattern, I think. Because I remember when I was a newer knitter, it was all the finishing details that, you know, I felt fine knitting and I could do lots of different like increases and all kinds of different things like that, but the finishing details were the things that scared me and made me nervous, and that those were the things I wasn't as confident in, and those are the things that you really want to make as pristine as possible for your garment to look professional. So yeah, I don't know, I love it so much. All right, so let's move on to my other finished objects now. You guys, I did it. I finally finished this pair of socks. So these are I always get the name a little bit wrong. It's the Autumn Acorn Judy Jewell. It's her Magic Heel, I think. Magic Heel socks. So there's no heel shaping, there's just ribbing. And I finally finished the second one. So I started these in April and just took my time. But so pretend that this is the heel of my foot. The ribbing takes the place of heel shaping. So this is a great pattern for anybody who wants to try to knit socks but is nervous at like the prospect of having to turn a heel, which involves like short rows and wrapped stitches sometimes, and depending on what kind of heel you do. So I think that this is a great option for jumping into socks if you're hesitant but interested, because it'll fit. And it's also going to be a pattern that I knit again for my son, who is, I keep pointing over there because he's next door, but it's not like you can see him, because his feet are growing, because he is 7.5. He will quickly say, I'm 7.5. That and a half is very important these days because he is the youngest in his class. So he's like 1.5. So yeah, you guys have all been there, I think. Yeah, so I'll be knitting these for him because his feet are growing all the time. I think what I would do next time is so they're top down, like cuff down. I would actually start knitting the ribbing a little bit sooner, and then I would actually knit after I stop the ribbing. I would actually go and knit more before starting the toe, because my heel is just kind of barely at the edge of that there. So I think that I could have knit longer for the foot and started the ribbing earlier. But they fit me, they're cute. The yarn that I used is Knitterly Things, and the colorway is Sometimes in April, and this is her Vesper glittery sock yarn, glitter full sock yarn. So I have been subscribing to Julia's Vesper Sock Yarn Club for something like 4 years and counting. It's probably been more than 4 years, but it's been at least 4 years. And this was, it says from February 2018. So this was pretty deep stash for my Knitterly Things yarn. And the colorway is Sometimes in April. It's 430 yards of self-striping goodness is what it says on the label. And this base, the glitterful base, is 75% superwash wool, 20% nylon, and 5% stellina. So I don't know don't know how well you can see the sparkle, if at all. I think the light might be picking up on it a little bit, but it has, you know, just enough shimmer to it, but it's not overwhelming. So I did not line these up. It's like a little bit off. That happens sometimes. I just start wherever I finish. So they're kind of close to being lined up, but they're not exactly, and I don't care. I never try to be matchy-matchy with my socks. It's just kind of like whatever comes out is what it's gonna be. So that is the first pair of Magic Heel, I think that's what it's called, Magic Heel socks that I have knit. So I don't think that they're my favorite for myself, but I really enjoy all the different kinds of heels, and that's actually my favorite part of knitting a sock. I don't think that these fit me the best, but they do fit, and I am going to be giving this pattern a shot for Owen and see what he thinks about it, because maybe he'll be able to get a little bit longer wear out of his socks if I have a more flexible heel placement for him. So I'm gonna give it a try for him. This is what that yarn looked like when I caked it up. Super pretty. So just super springy and fun and colorful, and yeah. All right, so that was my first finished object. And so last time, I think I had the goal of finishing for you guys by this podcast those socks, the bralette, which I'm going to show you now, and the soufflé tee. And so I actually made that goal. I got all three of these finished, and I'm so glad, because some of my other whips, I need to put a few inches of just stockinette into them before they're going to be at another interesting place to talk about. So that's why I'm not going to share them with you today, because nothing is going to look any different from last time on them, because I either didn't touch it or knit so little on it because I was really focused on finishing these things. So the next finished object is very different knit for me, and it is a bralette. My husband's colleague. My husband is a singer, a classical singer, and this knitwear designer is a classical singer, and he and my husband and Nola sang together in at least one gig, maybe more. And he learned that she was really into knitting and spinning and told her about me. And so we got connected, and now she is starting to design knitwear patterns. And so far I have test knit at least something from everything she has released. Her first set of designs was this past winter, and she had a hat, mittens, and cowl set, and I test knit the hat for her. And this is her second pattern, is this Starlette Bralette. So, all right, the lighting might not be super great, but I did take pictures of me wearing it, and yeah, so I wanted to, I'll insert some pictures really quick of it on me so that you can see that. You guys might have seen this because she released the pattern yesterday. Yesterday was Wednesday. I'm recording this on Thursday. It's June 30th. It's my niece Elliot's birthday, so happy birthday, Elliot. So Nola released this design yesterday, so I put my pictures up yesterday and shared it on Instagram. So those of you who follow me there might have seen this already, but I am going to give you guys a more detailed look at the pattern. It's the stitch pattern is called a tuck stitch pattern, and that was really fun to do. And the texture of it, I'll show you what it looks like on the wrong side. This is the inside out part of it. So that's the wrong side. But so that part is a little bit smoother. This design, you can wear this several different ways. For me, again, I didn't swatch. Sorry, Nola, I'm sorry. just can't do it for everything. I figured if it didn't work, it was a small enough garment where I could just knit one again. So the overwhelming feedback from the test knitters is that the resulting design fit a little bit big, a little bit loose. And there were plenty of test knitters who did do their due diligence and swatch and everything. So this fits me perfectly if I wear it over my bra. Then it fits really well. So that's how I modeled it in the pictures, was over my bra. For me, for this one especially, I am going to be wearing this as a layer, really probably underneath some of my other sweaters in the cooler months. I think it will give just a little bit extra warmth. So, and it's really, really cute. Probably I could also wear this like underneath like a button-down shirt and tie it, I don't know. I haven't quite figured it out yet. But for me, I'm planning to use it as like a layering piece. And I will be wearing it over my regular bra because this one is a little bit big otherwise. So if I was going to knit this and to wear as an undergarment, I would try, there's several things that I could do. One thing I could do is just knit one size smaller, and that might work really well for me. The ribbing, see, part of the reason is this ribbing is really, really stretchy. And she had this really cool cast on, an alternating cable cast on, which I had never done before. It was super easy to do, and she had so many video tutorials. The kids are being a little noisy over there. It's okay. But it's very, very, very stretchy. So for me, it didn't like cinch in as much as I would need it to, really, to wear as just a bra without anything underneath. So I might try just going down to a size small. There's also options to do short rows, which you can, she gives options to elongate this pattern, so you could start it earlier to make it a little bit longer overall, and then start the short rows a little bit later. I think you can also eliminate the short rows if you don't have as much bust to fill up, because this tuck stitch pattern is also quite stretchy, so you might not need to knit the short rows. And then she also at the end of the pattern gives so many different options for modifying it to customize it to a fit that you need. So there's a lot of options. It's very size inclusive. I think it goes from a few sizes small, I think like extra small, like I knit the medium. I think it goes from extra small up until like 5X or something. But she's also got like a whole lot of modification options there too. I know that she spent over a year developing this pattern, and that's the other technique that I had never done before. Okay, so the straps, I followed her tutorial and did a double Kitchener bind off, which I had never done. So basically, you have like two sets of stitches. So a Kitchener stitch, if you've ever knit a sock, it's what you usually would do at the toe to close up the toe. And it makes a seamless seam. Yeah. But for the straps, there were 4 sets of stitches. So you separate like the knit stitches from the purl stitches on both the bra part and on the strap. So then you've got 4 needles with stitches on them. So you have to do a Kitchener stitch 2 times. And so you go around in a circle to get to get them done, you do like 2 at a time one way, and then you have to like turn it and do it the other way. It was really cool. I had never done it before. I was a little bit worried about it and not sure if it was going to be worth it, but I really liked it, and following Nola's video tutorial made it really easy. So she just, her pattern has so many details. She was really thoughtful about including all of the tutorials that you would need, because I've been knitting for so many years, and I mean, between the double Kitchener bind off on the straps, the alternating cable cast on, even the tuck stitch I had never done. So that's 3 techniques in this one little garment that I had never done before. And you know, so the video tutorials were super helpful. So I think it's so cute. And oh, the other way that she shows people wear it is as like a little sports bra for like, you know, not high impact exercise, but like yoga or, you know, something like that, something, a lot of stretching, you know, just comfortable. You could wear it as a summer top if you feel comfortable with that. If my stomach were flatter, I might, but it's not, so I don't, because that's just me being uncomfortable. But it's super cute, and I'm so glad I test knit it for her, and I love the way it turned out. The yarn that I used in this like highlighter yellow green is Shirsty Cat, and Kelly Straub, I think is her name, at Shirsty Cat Designs. I met her around 2018, I think, at Long Island Fleece and Fiber Fair. Yeah, and so she was really nice. And so it's a worsted weight yarn, needed more than 1 skein for size medium. I think a worsted weight skein comes with an average of 200 yards. I think I needed about 260 for size medium, if that gives you an idea. So I did buy 2 skeins, and I have more than half a skein left over. So, love it. Okay, so also go give Nola a follow. She is at Nola Louise Knits on Instagram, and she is a super talented new knitwear designer. So I can't wait to see what other designs she's got in her head that hopefully I will be testing for her in the future. So that is all of my finished objects. We're already half an hour into this podcast. Oh my goodness. Next, we're gonna go into the spinning section. So my husband gifted me the Paradise Fibers Fiber of the Month Club for Christmas. This is actually the 2nd year that it has been my Christmas present, because last year I loved it so much. I said that's definitely what I would like again for my Christmas present. So it's fantastic. It's the present that keeps on giving. You get a fiber package in the mail every month that is a surprise, which I love surprises. So it's like every month something comes in, and I don't see any spoilers beforehand. So I do unboxing videos, so that's my first impression of everything. And this month they sent us 3 different colors of pure bamboo fiber. So it's 100% bamboo, and most of it I've actually already spun up, which is unusual. So they sent 2 ounces of 2 different colors. So 2 ounces of this color plus 2 ounces of another color, which I'll show you in a minute, and then 4 ounces of like a variegated color. So it is so shiny and very, very slippery. This is a really beautiful color. I think that this is the color of the bridesmaid's dress that I wore to my sister-in-law at my brother's wedding. Kind of looks like that, like periwinkle kind of color. So super pretty. It's like a bluish purple. And so I just started spinning this one up today. And so I've got maybe a third of a spindle spun up. So this, I will probably do 1 of the 2 ounces. I'll fill this spindle up as much as I can, and we'll get like 2 balls out of it, of singles. So it is, let's see, I'll show you. Yeah, so this one I just started today, but that's what it's looking like. That is the thickness that I am spinning it to right now. So the bamboo is quite a bit more slippery than like a merino wool, which is usually some kind of wool blend is what I usually spin. So this is my first bamboo fiber, and it's very slippery, but I am definitely getting used to it. So the other solid color, I've got these 3 little balls. It was going to be 2, but then it split when I was taking it off my spindle. So I've got this 3 little balls of this like silvery lilac color. So this was 2 ounces of fiber, and I have already spun all of that up, and I'll show you what that looks like next to like this color. So they're a little bit different. So yeah, this one's like a silvery lilac. So it's, well, there it goes. Hold on. So the drop part of the Stop, Drop, and Knit podcast is not really just for drop spindle spinning, but also because I drop things all the time. So my ball winder is in my new apartment, and we're not fully moved in there yet. We will be finishing our move after we go on vacation this next week. We will be moving like the big stuff over there and like getting 100% moved in the week that we return. So by the end of July, we will actually be living, I think, in our new apartment. But that's where my ball winder is. So usually I would off my spindle, get my ball winder, and get a quick cake off my spindle. But I have been just having to do the old school method of like not knotting up, just winding. I don't know the word. I don't know why. Winding up these balls. And so yeah, they're very dense. So there's that color, which is really pretty. The one that I did first actually was what I referred to as my Sully fiber. So this fiber came, and it's already spun up, so I can't show you the fiber. But it reminded me of Sully from the Monsters, Inc. movies, because that's the colors that it was. So I have 5 little balls. It was 4, but again, like the 2 smaller ones was 1 ball that kind of broke as I was winding it into a ball. I must have had like a really thin spot in the spinning, so it just snapped, and so I made 2 smaller balls out of it. So it's so pretty. I don't know if you guys can see, it's blue, but it's got a bit of purple in it, which is just how I like my blue, because purple is my favorite color. But yeah, so I got the fiber, and it reminded me of Sully. So yeah, so I just refer to it as Sully. And yeah, it's been a lot of spinning. I've been spending a lot of time hanging out outside, watching Owen play with his friends down the street. Yeah, he's not at the age, like next door, I'll let him go over because I can see them across the fence, and their parents, the kids are young enough that their parents are always out there with them. So I can hear them, and I can see over the fence, and I can call over to him. And he's the oldest of the 3 kids over there, so I feel comfortable letting him go off on his own next door because they just play in the backyard, and I can hear and see everything. But down the street, the kid that he plays with down the street is very sweet, but his parents don't necessarily stay out there with him. And these kids are only 7.5, and it's a busy street. They live on the corner, so there's more directions of cars, and they're pretty good about watching out for cars, but they're just not old enough yet, in my opinion. So I've been parking my butt, sitting on the curb. I should just bring a lawn chair, But, you know, everyone who drives by looks at me really funny because I've just been sitting out there at the curb so that I could supervise my child, and I have gotten so much spinning done because he's been playing a lot, because it's been the first week out of a summer vacation, out of school. So I've just been occupying myself by spinning, which is great because I got a whole lot done. So this is really pretty. I am not sure though, maybe you guys can let me know, because I've never worked with bamboo fiber. I have never spun it. I've never knit with it either. I think I've knit with like a bamboo cotton acrylic blend a long time ago, but this is 100% bamboo. So right now I just have it spun into singles, and I'm kind of torn, like, should I ply it? Should I ply it with itself? Should I save my singles and at some point in the future ply it with another fiber to create a blended yarn? I don't really know what I want to do. So I kind of think right now, like, I just decided instead of plying it, I'm just gonna at least spin all of this fiber into singles. And I don't know, I was trying to research it too, and a lot of people seem to blend it with other fibers, but I just don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. So you guys give me some input, some advice, especially if you have spun bamboo before. Would you want a garment that was 100% bamboo? What are the advantages or disadvantages to that, or blending it with another fiber? Help. Help guide me, because I don't know where I want to go with that. So I'm just gonna finish spinning the singles, which should be done in the next couple of days. And I haven't set it yet because usually I don't set my singles, I set my plied yarn. So setting it is when you wash it and set the twist and everything. So I mean, right now it is just spun into singles and wound into these dense little balls of yarn, bamboo yarn. So let me know what you think. I don't know what my next step is going to be with that fiber, but it is the soonest after receiving a Paradise Fibers box that I've actually spun it up. So I'm pretty proud of myself for that. All right, that is spinning. Next, we're gonna go into natural dyeing. So you can't really see it, but this tree right above me here is a mulberry tree, and you can dye with mulberry leaves. So I was sitting out here a few days ago spinning my bamboo fiber, and my dad, because this is their house, he was complaining about this tree because the leaves have begun falling everywhere, and I don't know, that bothers him. So it's like the only place in the yard where there's leaves on the ground, right? Because the other trees aren't like shedding their leaves yet. He was just complaining about it. He's like, I should have had that tree cut down years ago and blah, blah, blah. I was like, why? I said, it provides shade, it's beautiful. And he said, well, who wants to deal with all of those leaves? I said, I do. They make a beautiful yellow color. And so I promptly went around and collected a bag of leaves, and because I had dyed with the mulberry leaves last year, and so I knew that I could get like a really vibrant yellow. Now the leaves last year, he last year had actually pruned this tree. So he had, oh my gosh, that scared me. That was a caterpillar. I guess one of these leaves had a caterpillar on it, and where did you go? I don't know where it just went. It just surprised me. I felt something tickling on my hand, and a green fuzzy caterpillar all of a sudden was on my hand, which if it hadn't surprised me, I would have been fine with it. But now I don't know where it went, and I feel bad. I don't want to squish it. Okay. Anyway, there was just a caterpillar on me. So, last year, the leaves that I used, he had actually cut down several several branches, and he was just, they were really hanging over the deck a lot, and the berries kept falling. We don't get a lot of the berries on this tree, but they were just, he just wanted to like trim it back a little bit. So I took those leaves last year, so they were like really fresh because they hadn't fallen yet. I just took them and trimmed them off of the branches that he had cut down. And I got like a really vibrant yellow. It was probably like this color yellow. And then when I modified it with an iron after dip, it turned the yarn green, like this color green. So I have some skeins of yarn, and they're in my new apartment, so I don't have them to show you right now. I'll see if I can find a picture, because I bet I have a picture of it. But they're kind of like that yellow and that green. So, but those were with leaves that had not fallen, so they were super fresh. And so what I did was I collected a whole bunch of leaves that just looked like this. So, they were already, like the ones that were on the tree were green. So these are already more yellow with lots of brown spots and green sections and yellow sections, and this is what they looked like. But, and these were just on the deck right here, so I just was like, well, I can show you guys what the leaves look like. So that's what I used, and I had already mordanted some yarn, and so I used an alum mordant, and the fiber, I think this one is like almost dry. The fiber that this is a merino wool tencel blend. So it's 50% merino wool, 50% tencel. And so this is not as bright and vibrant a yellow as I got last year from the super fresh leaves. But, I mean, yeah, so the yarn last year looked a little bit more like these leaves do. But I got this like really strong yellow color, which I think is more autumnal, and it's very deep. And so I have 3 skeins of this merino tencel blend or this darker shade. And then I had plenty of color left in my dye bath, so I put another 2 skeins in, and I got still a very strong yellow, but a bit paler than this one over here. So I've got 3 skeins of this, 2 skeins of this. So this is also a merino tencel blend. It's the same exact yarn. And then right now I have in the dye pot my last 2 skeins that I had over here. Everything else has already been moved over to my new place. So I just did the very last dyeing in this house that I will be doing from this location. And it's 2 skeins of sock yarn that I have in the dye bath right now. So I need to pull those out and give them a rinse. So I'm not sure how much color I'll get on those, because you can see there's a pretty significant difference in the shades of yellow here. So this is the initial dye bath, and this is what you would call the first after bath. And so both of these were mordanted with alum several weeks ago. So that was convenient that I already had it ready to go. And yeah, so, my dad was like, who wants to deal with all of these leaves? And I said, I do. I can dye my yarn with them, so they don't bother me. So I did. I collected a whole bunch of leaves, and I dyed, I've got 5 skeins there and another 2. I dyed 7 skeins of yarn with 1 bag of mulberry leaves. So that was fun. And, I'm not going to be living here anymore, so I don't know what kind of access I will have to mulberry leaves in the future. So I don't know. This is kind of like, for those of you who are new here, this is my childhood home that we moved back to when I came to graduate school here, and my parents are moving to South Carolina. So this is like our last couple of months in this house. And so this is like my last memory, I guess, of my childhood home. So I've been dyeing leaves, yarn with like the oak leaves from the trees in this yard and acorns, and so it'll have a little bit of a memory in there for me. But probably not going to keep all of it for myself, because I do still plan on opening a shop at some point. Things have just been so ridiculously busy with moving and new jobs and everything. Okay, so that is all I have for natural dyeing. So the very last segment I have for you guys is a little tiny bit of acquisitions. So let's head on into acquisitions. So just yesterday, my yarn from my Knitterly Things Sock Yarn Club subscription arrived, and the colors are so fun, again, as usual. So these are the June 2022 colors. Usually I get them a little bit more into July, like the following month, but yeah, she usually dyes them through the month and sends them out at the end. And usually I don't get them until the following calendar month, but yeah, she's on top of it this month. So these are so fun. This one I'll show you first. So this is her Remix Club, which you can only subscribe to every January. And her Remix Club is when she takes colorways that she has done in the past, but she rethinks and reimagines them into something new and different. And so she has called this one Seashells by the Seashore Remix, and this is on her 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon base. So there's no stellina in this one. It's very beachy and summery, like seashell. It does kind of look like seashells and like beach sand, and yeah, it's so fun. So this might actually be the next pair that I cast on. I'm not sure. And then the other club is her Vesper Sock Yarn Club, which she opens for every 3 months. You can subscribe, so quarterly. So probably the next quarter that you can sign up will be like October, November, December. So you should look like at the around September, middle of September, for like the next opportunity to sign up for her club. And this one reminds me of the 70s. It actually reminds me of the couch in our basement. But it's so cool. It's called Sunflower, and this is 100% superwash merino. And this is on her, like, it's got a twisty base, so there's like the black in there is on the undyed base, and then she dyes on top of it. So this to me reminds me of our couch in the basement, which is from the 70s, and all of those like 70s colors with the greens and the gold and the red, that rusty kind of red and brown. So, but it's so cool. I love sunflowers, are my favorite flowers, and I just thought this is really beautiful. So I am really excited to work with this one. I think these are going to be beautiful for the fall coming up. So cool. So these are the two together. I was very pleased this month with both of them. I like them both equally, and they're so super different from one another, which I think is really fun too. So that's the sock yarn that I got. And then I wanted to just update you guys on the yarn that I wanted to use for the hen. So Susan B. Anderson has this adorable hen pattern that I am going to knit up for my boss's daughter, number 1. They're pregnant with daughter number 2 right now, with baby girl number 2. But their firstborn, which was a pandemic baby that I did not know about until a couple months ago, was born in, I think she's about 18 months. I think she's an October baby, but like 2 Octobers ago. So I thought that I wanted to knit her something, because I just always want an excuse to knit. And so Susan B. Anderson made this adorable hen pattern, and I missed out on getting the kits for it. But you can also order yarn from her directly. But she didn't have the exact colors. in stock when I ordered. So what I showed you guys last week, I'm gonna dig it out. Was this color palette that I had picked out for this hen. So this is much more fall palette than like her original colors were much more like a bright red and a brighter yellow, and like a brighter gray. So, oh, and also this is a more rustic yarn, which I really like, but it's gonna be for a kid. So I was like, you know, maybe like this will work for the hen in a little bit more like autumnal colors than I had originally envisioned, but I could save this for a color work project for me. And I was considering like seeing if she had in stock, if she got back into stock her regular colors for the hen. So her update a couple weeks ago, soon after I recorded the last podcast and talked about it, she had an update, and she had restocked a whole bunch of colors in her worsted weight yarn base, which is what the pattern was for. And so I was able to get all of the yarn that I needed in the original colors. So these are the colors that the hen pattern used originally. So you can just see, like, oh, I already put them away. So, like, I have a lot of yarn in my hands. So you can just see, like, there's a difference. Like, the red is much brighter, right? So it would have worked. The yellow is similar, but I think I'm dropping everything. So the red is quite different, which online the colors look different than when you get them in person. So I had thought that this was going to be a little bit more red than it turned out to be. This color is beautiful, but it's very different from the red that I was trying to get as close to as I could. So that's the difference there. The gray also was the other one that, like it's just like a pure gray, and this had a bit more like a heathered with like a tan look to it. That was pretty close, but they're just different yarns. They're beautiful, and I love these rustic yarns, but it wasn't what I was like envisioning for the hen. And then the white was fine, right? That was fine. And then the yellow actually was super, super similar. Like, that's almost an exact. And actually, this is really close also to my Mulberry yarn. Super, super similar. So, yeah, that's really exciting. So I wonder if I can make a version of the hen with like my naturally dyed yarn at some point. It would be really cool. So anyway, so she had these in stock. My plan is to make 2, because if I'm going to make a hen, I'm going to want to keep it because the thing is stinking adorable. So I got enough. I got 5 skeins of the worsted weight, which should be enough for me to make 2 of the cute little hens. And again, I'll put a picture on the screen so that you know what I'm talking about. The thing is so super adorable. It's going to be so cute. And I think that is actually, it's going to make a really cute gift for like an almost 2-year-old kid, right? I think, especially with the little egg and the little baby chick that they can go into the sweater pockets. It's so sweet. So anyway, that is today's podcast, you guys. Even without a whole bunch of whips, I had so much to share with you guys. So, yeah, I hope that if you're not already subscribed, you will consider subscribing and leaving me a comment and letting me know if you're new here or if you've been around here forever. I really love hearing from you guys in the comments. And let's see, we are headed to Vermont next week. Our wedding anniversary is coming up here on July 4th. So we are spending a few days away in Vermont, and that's going to be fun and relaxing. And after that, hopefully I will have some more progress on some whips to share with you guys. So I will see you probably in 2 weeks, because I'm not going to record next week while I'm on vacation. So until then, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys soon. Have a great summer. Bye-bye.